The graph shown below represents the solution set of an inequality. Which inequality has the solution set represented in the graph? If we examine the graph, there are multiple parts we want to focus in on. First thing we want to look at is, what number is that at? It's at the 97 right here, which is the number I'm trying to get, a 97. Next thing that is helpful is also the type of circle that's in the graph. That circle is a closed circle, which tells us that it could be or equal to. And then lastly, the way that it is shaded, the arrow, and that is now a greater than or equal to symbol. And then we just use any variable we want. The multiple choice options are using x's, so can we. Now we have 4 multiple choice options, so we want to solve each one until we get our answer that matches. So in part A, we have negative 2x plus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 198. To solve this one, we start by subtracting 4 to both sides. When we subtract 4, we get negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 202. And lastly, we have to divide everything by negative 2. Following the rules of inequalities, when we multiply or divide by a negative inverse, the inequality sign needs to flip. So now it's less than or equal to 101. Comparing this to the original problem in the graph above, there are 2 incorrect parts. First part being the number, it's 101, not 97. And the second part is the inequality sign being less than or equal to instead of greater than or equal to. So now I'm going to test part B. Part B is the exact same problem as part A, with the exception of the inequality sign. So we know the numbers don't match, but just to prove it, we can subtract 4 to both sides like we did in part A. We get that negative 2, we are in blue, not green. The negative 2x is less than or equal to negative 202. Divide everything by negative 2. And we get x dividing by a negative, flip it, 101. But like I hinted at earlier, since a and b were the same numbers, and we knew the number was wrong already with 101, a and b are both incorrect. Leaves us to options C or D. Let's try option C first. Negative 2x minus 4 greater than or equal to negative 198. So in part A and B, we moved the positive 4 by subtracting it, but now I'm starting with a minus 4, which tells us to move it, the inverse of minus, plus. Add 4 to both sides. This then gives us negative 2x greater than or equal to negative 194. Divide both sides by negative 2. And like we've done in A and B, dividing by a negative inverse flips the inequality sign to now x is less than or equal to 97. So the number's good 97, but the arrow or inequality sign of shading is incorrect. Now, while process of elimination tells us that D has to be the correct answer since A, B, and C were wrong, a good test-taking practice is to still test it to make sure we may or may not have made mistakes elsewhere. So part D now, just testing it, negative 2x minus 4 less than or equal to negative 198. Adding 4 to solve for x. We get negative 2x less than or equal to negative 194. Divide everything by negative 2. Dividing by the negative inverse flips the inequality sign. And we get x greater than or equal to 97, which matches what we had up top. And that gives us D as the correct answer.